Welcome back. This is part 4 of going through the Muse Tarot by Chrisanne. Today we'll be looking at the suit of voices, which represents the suit of swords, element of air. And then I'll be going through the pentacles, which in this deck is called materials. And we'll wrap up with a look at the court cards on their own because I really want to dive into those. I did not go too deeply into the court cards while I've been doing this mini study of the deck. So hold on, I wanted to make sure there wasn't too much noise in the background. So again, we're going to look at the aces or the voices today, starting with the Ace of Voices. Swords in Tarot is one of my favorite suits because it represents the element of air. A lot of people don't like that suit, but when I was going through a particularly hard time in my life, a lot of those cards came up. And so I learned to have a different perspective and relationship with them. I am an air and fire dominant individual, so I relate to the energy of air a little bit differently. So we have the Ace of Voices. So many things. First of all, let's look at the background. We can see the mountains back here above the tree line. There's a barn owl. They are known to be very intelligent. Of course, the totem of the owl is of wisdom anyway. And then we have, I believe this is a unity flag. And then I like that the figure is you can see the light streaming into the crown there. I love all the colors of the hair as well, because to me that just represents the different frequencies, the different ideas, the different energy. It's very vibrant as well. So yeah, this is the Ace of Voices. I'm interested to see how the element shows up in this deck as well. But I really appreciate how the background just kind of really embodies that this is above all the small thinking. There's the energy of connectedness, universal consciousness that shows up for me in this card as well. And just again with the mountains, because mountains represent clarity. To me, the mountains is also where I go when I want to feel closer to source because it's higher up. And then you have the clarity, the clear mind, clear thoughts, clear communication, just absolute clarity coming through. And then we have, I don't know where I put just in case I want to peek at the guidebook while looking through. Let me see. So this card is the flashlight of truth, which makes sense. All right, then we have the Two of Voices. And I like how it's almost there's so many different crossings here. And the threshold there, you are looking in both directions, in the past and the future. You're kind of leaning towards the future, but still torn in between the two, for the embodiment of choice or even indecision, there's a converging of the paths here. And so when I see that, it's almost it doesn't matter what path you take, you can't really take the wrong path. You'll just learn some new and different things as you go, but you'll always wind up where you are supposed to be in the end. So this, I feel is just the confusion of not knowing what is on the other side. Is this the right thing to do? Just overly thinking. And I like how their gown is consumed kind of with clouds, just that cloudy energy, not knowing. Things are kind of overcast. Everything's crisscrossed up. The head is not visible there at the top. So it's very scattered. Just the way the card is designed, it feels very zigzaggy in and out. Three of Voices. So you can see the tears there. very dark, barren landscape, just that one like solitude, like the door there with her back against the door. She's crying. She's alone and by herself, naked, very vulnerable energy. But it's almost like she's not, like, Source is there with her, right? Like crying with you, supporting you, like feeling all the things, like wanting to take away what you're feeling almost in a sense. So it says, the storm clouds brew on the horizon, the desolate land just beyond the reach of their cleansing waters. She sits feeling splintered, holding on to the last shred of light that she has. She tries to breathe her heart together, yet she feels empty, waning, inconsistent. And the muse watches over, feeling every tear, every sob, every note sung in despair. She sees the painful separation between what was desired and what is reality, and feels the crumbling of the path that was not really the true path at all. Then when the connection is strong, she whispers small comforts, words starting in the mind and then working their way into the heart. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And so that's what I was picking up on, like that connection and being able to understand and like have that empathy, but also know like it's okay because it wasn't for you. Yes, it hurts, but it wasn't true for you. And once we're able to like reconcile that, to heal that, to alchemize that, then we can get on the path that is truly right for us. And I love how with the light here, like we're never truly disconnected. It just only feels that way to us when in our mind we are anchoring into the separation, to the loss, to the despair, to the grief. Yeah, so that is the Three of Voices. And then we have the Four of Voices. I love this. Luxuriating, it's rest, it's meditation, it is allowing Source to pour in energy, creativity to flow. This just looks like a very yummy, restful, relaxing, self-care, healing bath. So that to me also like, yeah, feels like a ritual bath. And it's almost like saying, just, you know, pause, take a break before going to the next step. And I like the clouds that are back there as well. So next up we have the Five of Voices. Is that an olive branch? I believe it is an olive branch. So this kind of has the energy of the two where like the paths or the energy, the wires are getting crossed. And then you have people who are kind of sitting here like in meditation. And then this one figure here is just like, whatever, I'm not here for this. So I feel like this is like coming together. I'm almost seeing like these two like merging into one, coming together, finding a common thread. Each person being able to contribute their thoughts, their ideas, and extending an olive branch. Like when we are having miscommunication, differences of opinion, different beliefs that are clashing, like let's pause and accept this olive branch, take a beat and like agree to disagree or whatever we need to do in that moment. So this talks about, of course, you know, fighting, winning at all costs. It's time to extend an olive branch, feeling defeated, learning from loss, failure, being hurt, bullying, which makes sense, especially kind of like with this figure here. So it's about, the prompt here says social moths. The muse of the Five Voices looks down, reflecting back the ways we can miss what really matters as we strive to win. Sometimes we find ourselves falling victim to someone else's ambition or iniquity, and other times it is we ourselves who are lost on the path to victory. Very, very interesting. So this is almost like a reminder of your why. What are you doing and why? And then next we have the Six of Voices. And I love how she is being carried over her path where, right, this could have been a challenge to kind of cross over with these giant spikes, and you can kind of see like the pyramid mountains in the background. But inspiration is carrying her. Like you have that divine support to continue along your journey. I think this is really such a beautiful card. It's a beautiful depiction of how like we are guided. So this talks about help coming from unexpected places, distance covered in the hands of the muse, successful expansion after a period of difficulty, crossing thresholds, realignment. She stands at the edge of her sanity, not knowing how to go further, but knowing she needs to cross to the other side. Looking up to the heavens like prayers being answered. Yep. She sends a silent prayer for help and is answered by a lightness that she hasn't felt for so long. The muse of difficult transitions lends a helping hand to those who seek solace and passage to new states of being, living, and loving. I really like this because I decided that I was going to resume my 21 days of expansion practice. Initially, I planned on doing that this past February, but work got really busy and just consumed all of my time, so I did not get to do that. And I thought after reflecting on the eclipse and the different changes and things that came up for me, that this would be a really good time to do that. And so this is what that card reminds me of. It's like that expansion journey. Because along that journey, I do feel that it just activates something and you just have this divine push, this lift, this support that just makes everything so easeful. So this is kind of what I see there. And one of the things that I noticed is the muse isn't looking directly at her. It's almost kind of like she's bowing in a sense. And I think that's kind of like, to me, like a recognition and just a reflection of us also being divine beings who are like, the muse is grateful to help. That's what I'm seeing here. I know a lot of times it can be hard to ask for help, whether it is ethereal help, whether it is help in this realm. But like there are people who are willing and able to help, and they're grateful and honored to do so. So that's one of the things that really comes up for me with this card, which is a very different way of looking at the Six of Swords. Oftentimes it doesn't really focus on the actual like transition, the hard thing that you're moving forward from. So it's like taking the lessons from the Five of Voices and saying, okay, now how can I move forward? And if I can't do it on my own, or if I need support in doing so, who's coming through? Who can I ask? How am I going to get to the other side of this thing? And I love all the yellow because then that just brings in that energy of like the solar plexus and just the willpower and the strength and the refreshing and the renewal of this transition. So next up is the Seven of Voices, and this card got bent somehow, like right in the middle. Maybe I was shuffling too hard because these cards aren't, this is the Hay House version. It's not as thick a cardstock, so I think that could be what it was, because several of them have little bends, but that's okay. Cards are meant to be used, and that's what happens with paper. So here we have the Seven of Voices, and this reminds me, one, of the Justice card in the Light Seers Tarot, but also of the Moon card because of the like the underwater vibes that it's giving. And then we have the two the foxes there, even though they're not foxes on the moon. So I like here again, we can see like the mountains and the clouds, and she has that clarity. There's a lot of light. There's like, okay, understanding, really being present and grounded in the moment. And on the other hand, you have the fox here, right? And the figure here has the fox head on, so it's like wearing a mask. Fox energy is tricky. It's about trickery. It can be deception, cunningness, clever. And so then being under the water, right? The subconscious, things that are hidden. It's kind of hard to see under the water sometimes. So not necessarily having all of that clarity. And also when you're under the water, maybe you can't always see like the ripples, but when you have this perspective, you can see the ripples of maybe the choices or the consequences. So you have more of an awareness in that respect. So yeah, with that, it feels like there's a lot that's hidden, maybe needing to take a different path, being afraid to move forward. So this talks about the aftermath of illusion, trickery, thievery, deception, being honest and aligned, paying attention to what's going on, con artists, copycat, seeing past deceit. Oh, how lovely it all looks. The serene bridge, everything perfectly in order. It leads to perfectly shiny things. So she stays focused on the green meadows that lie ahead. They promised her perfection, you see. She looks up suddenly, noticing the muse looming ahead with her intense gaze, peaceful yet insistent. Something feels off, a gut instinct, something that she can't quite put her finger on, something made of shadows happening in the reflections. Her inner senses are tingling with the most distant of alarm bells, and she knows she must trust her instincts on this one. As you cross over your own bridge of illusion, this muse warns you to be on the lookout for deceit, theft, or misalignment of values. Take only what you need, trusting your own integrity to guide you. The security of your moral compass will grant you passage because only in truth can the threshold really be crossed. Very interesting. So this is almost like facing your own truth, a little bit of shadow work here as well, because sometimes the person who is deceiving us or not being honest is us. Sometimes it's us who is casting an illusion over our lives or over our relationship because we can only see the good. And so we kind of overlook the little intuitive nudges, the red flags, the signs, the little subtle warnings that something is off. So I feel like this too is a reminder to tune in and be aware of your spiritual gifts. Don't allow them to be dampened or ignore them. So yeah, so it's like there's something happening beneath the surface, but maybe not really paying attention to it because you're focused on the shiny things. So very beautiful card. And then here we have the Eight of Voices. So yeah, you can kind of see where that one's bent. I like the lines in this card, the horizontal and the vertical, and there's kind of like a funnel like streaming in. Her eyes are covered over, so it's like the light can't penetrate. This feels like imprisonment. And there's just not a lot going on. Like even like there are bands kind of holding her in place. And it's like there's light streaming through, but it's not yet enough to overcome the background. So this talks about feeling stuck, feeling bound, clasping at my scream, believing you have no choice, self-tethering, empowering or disempowering effect of belief, no way out, unleashing your ties, seeing truth. The walls seem to cave in and the lights are blotted out from the sky, and she finds herself stuck in one spot with no way to move. She always did have the worst luck. As she imagines her prison, her heart begins to beat faster. I can't see, she says out loud, and feels an invisible clasp at her wrist. I can't, she calls out again. Ooh, and another rope anchors her arm. She's giving up. I can't, I can't, I can't. This is so powerful. With every subsequent sob, cry, and scream, the ties multiply. These ties are because of the mindset, the self-imposed prison, the feeling of stuckness and stagnancy. The universe whispers gently, you're not stuck. Look at the options around you. She slows her breathing. Her blindfold falls away. She opens her eyes. I think this is beautiful because it also reminded me of like a panic attack or just feeling overwhelmed when you can't see and everything is just kind of hazy and just you can't really see, like you're overwhelmed with your thoughts and you start to then become stuck. So I think this is really beautiful to pause, to breathe, to create space, to see, okay, what are my options? They might not be the best options, but there are options. Staying stuck, staying still, becoming stagnant does not have to be the only option. This is a really gorgeous Nine of Swords. So we have the Nine of Voices. And there she is slumbering on a cloud while a gorgeous muse above her is just there. Like this feels so peaceful, like a dream compared to what we were seeing here in the Eight of Swords. And it's interesting because usually the Nine of Swords, you see someone who is beat up, they are worn out. But here, after going through this mental mind fuck, it's like, okay, let me take a nap. Let me recharge myself. And maybe the muse or spirit is going to come through with some wisdom and some inspiration for my dreams that will help me to move forward. So I think that's really beautiful because once we get out of this nightmarish energy, it's a little more peaceful. So I want to see what the guidebook says. The 9. Screaming to sleep. Nightmares, terrors, illusions, anxiety, worry keeping you up, insomnia, fear, processing difficulty, stress or fear affecting your function. Oh, so this is interesting. For many moons, she had been sleeping in that halfway place of unrest, that place where worry has crept into the sides of her mind and kept her from the deep slumber she so desired. Her eyes would close effortlessly as her body said yes to stillness, but the mind was a canyon full of memories to retrieve and to process. And her pillow never seemed to have enough space to hold it all. Even her memories seemed to fade into the liminal with her nightmares. When this lack of respite also creeps into your waking hours and you find your mind spinning without relief, allow the muse to blanket you from above. Your fears are but illusions of the future, while in the present place you are safe, held, loved. Quiet your mind, even when it seems far too simple. The answer is always love. Yes, 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 yes it is. Remember this, and being mindful of your circadian clock, let your healing rest take over. So I love that this is a nurturing image of what to do in those moments. So like if the nightmare started here, right? With the 8 of Voices, when you're telling yourself you can't and you're afraid and this and that and this and that. And when you allow that to take over, that's when the 9 of Swords is the nightmare. And instead it's like, okay, I'm going to take off the blindfold. I'm going to look at my options and I'm going to be open. I'm going to rest because maybe I need to stop doing. I need to stop overthinking. I just need to pause. I need to rest because sometimes a good nap, a good night's sleep will help reset you and you wake up feeling refreshed with some new ideas. Oftentimes you'll have amazing dreams that come in and will reveal things to you and just help you. So love it, love it, love it. Beautiful. I think this is one of my favorite cards. And it's because it's an alternative view of this card. It's like we don't have to continue to carry this forward. We can go ahead right here and stop, nurture ourselves, get some rest, heal what needs healing, and then move forward with ease. And the nines also are a culmination. So this shows like that nightmare is, it's over. And so then here we have the 10 of Voices. All of these mountains, right? The pyramid, the mountain shaped structures, it feels like just overwhelm, piercing ideas, too many things. And it's like she's just there, like, I surrender. Like, there's nothing more that I can do. I surrender. So this is a very interesting rendition of the 10 of Swords. I want to see here. So this is gash simplicity, a painful truth or realization, despair, victimhood, deception, betrayal, being stabbed in the back, harsh endings, disillusion, seeing the world in a new way, an opportunity to begin anew. The 10 of Voices knows that no matter how severe this wound, she will heal and become stronger. Love that. She knows that any backstabbing circumstances or illusions that she's missed along the way will dissipate and mend with this major ending. She's ready to heal, so she turns and faces the swords head on. She didn't get stabbed in the back. She saw what was happening and what was coming, and she faced it head on. Like, that's what I said. There's an air of surrender here where it's like, okay, do your worst. And yeah, like it's beautiful. As expected, this ending is difficult. There are moments when she wants to give up and wallow. All the poor me's in the universe come knocking on the door, and she sits bravely in this painful closure, reminding you to experience and release whatever hurt you're holding on to. Don't allow muscle memory to set in. Don't allow it to set to muscle memory, and avoid holding space for helplessness at this time. Allow your parts to be lovingly stitched back together. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh, it says, yeah, allow your parts to be lovingly stitched back together, as they will elevate you to the top of your mountain, where any remaining voids will be filled with the opportunity for love. That's so beautiful. So like I said, there's like this sense of surrendering, and that doesn't mean that things are going to be easy, but it does mean that we can heal, we can learn something, and we can continue to try again. We can start over, and that is okay. Starting over with a new mindset, with a new perspective, with a new idea, a new focus is absolutely okay. So now we are going to peek at the Page of Voices. One, I love these shades. Love them, love them, love them. I like the dancing. There's some energy swirling. It's like she just wants to see everything. She wants to experience everything. This card feels very fun. There's this air of, I want to say curiosity, but more like exploration or experimentation, trying different things. So here, right, she's got her blouse buttoned all the way up. But it's like, I can get wild. I can do this too. I want to try something different and like see things clearly, like reading everything, looking at everything, soaking everything in. And it's almost like she learns by watching as well. Like she can see something and then she absorbs it. She takes it in. Her haircut is really cute, by the way. So let's see where the Page of Voices. Frenetic understanding of stillness, curious and intelligent things, restless energy, a thirst for knowledge, learning, thinking, a student, needing to align your actions with your words. How does it all work? Where are we headed? What is the nature of nature? A million questions and answers. She gobbles up all the things. The page is a sponge, taking it all in. She intuits and intellects. She thinks her way into existence, and sometimes she has so much on her mind, there is a frenetic energy around her. It's a learning storm. I love that she is larger than the background and everything. It's just very front and center for the page. I love it. And there we have the Knight of Voices. So this is about a wing of truth. Quick and intelligent, boldly speaking, purposeful, fast-moving energy, of course. There's this different perspective as well. Wings crashing down to lift her massive body. The Knight of Voices makes the impossible look easy. She is quick to rise and to bring massive speed and momentum to her world. Using wind speed, coordinates, logic, and gravity, she hoists herself into air as easily as if she were feather light, or she makes it look easy. So this is about flying ahead with focus, taking action, not sitting overthinking. It is putting things in motion and doing so in a way that is, or at least appears to be, effortless. And then we have the Queen of Voices surrounded by these beautiful, beautiful ravens. I love it, I love it, I love it. The bob is cute as well. So the Queen of Voices is all about the voice of feathers. So that, of course, represents, right, truth. It is fairness. It is being honest. It's wisdom, cutting through the BS, having clear vision, clear communication. And she has her own wings, it looks like. So again, there's still that fast movement and like lots of communication coming in. She is within and yet also above the cloud. So it's almost, I don't know, just being part of it all, part of the communication. Her magic is a little more tangible, and for her proof-seeking perception, she is grateful. She unfolds her wings of wisdom and knowledge and stretches out over her domain. She's a queen of voices, and she speaks with an intensity so very direct that it cuts right through to the heart of the matter. Her words, like those of an ancient soothsayer, are clever and rife with profound insight. And there in the wake of a million fluttering clouds, she always seeks the path rooted in truth, honesty, integrity, and gentle knowing. She reminds you to be strategic and direct, to dispel clouded judgment, and to send tiny gusts of helping winds to those in need. Love it, love it, love it. So there is the Queen of Voices. And then finally, we have the Muses of Voices. I love how these are all like thresholds. There's always two figures and then the person going through. I want to see something because I see the air symbol on that card. Oh, I shuffled these back. Let me see if it's on the materials, the symbol for the element. No, I don't see it on this one. Okay, just wondering. So the Muse of Voices is the walkway of consciousness. The Muse of Voices dance freely at the gates of enlightenment, drawing heavily on both experience and inner clarity. She knows that what her mind creates and what it receives from the world are both based on her own perception of the facts, and she also knows that collective truth is what we must use to share our dance of joy. So this is about communicating the truth, intuitive knowing, integrity, directness. I like that Chris Ann acknowledges that air energy, the suit of voices, the suit of swords, is also a function of intellect, claircognizance, clairaudience. Those things also are beautiful ways of just knowing. And so as someone who has those dominant clairs, it's helpful like to see that someone like acknowledges that, because a lot of times when it comes to voices or to, you know, the suit of air or swords, it's usually all logic and intellect. Well, I guess the internet would be part of the air because the communication, the signals that go back and forth. But anyway, so yeah, just seeing that how we can use our intellect with our heart in a very intuitive manner. We don't have to say that because, oh, you're an air sign, you're not intuitive, or because you think that's not part of your intuition, when in fact it truly can be for some people who just be knowing. And yeah, I think that is very, very beautiful. So I really appreciate the way that this suit was put together. Like I said, I really love the Nine of Voices, the three, like all of them are just, and the six, like these are so amazing. The artwork is stunning, very, very stunning. I noticed too on the, so on the Knight of Voices, the flag appears back there where we saw it on the Ace of Voices. That's why I like doing this, because then you can pick up on little things that maybe you would not have noticed before and kind of make connections between the, between the cards and get a deeper understanding of what they represent. The nudges for me. And one of the things I noticed is a few of the figures are kind of covered in sand. So like, or is that glitter? I don't know. It looks like sand on the arms there to me. You probably can't see it, but it looks like sand, like they were maybe laying on a beach, which to me, and then this muse here also appears to maybe have some sand on her hands. So when I think about that, a lot of times when we think about the sword suit, we think of it as being cut off from water. Like, oh, it's just in the air, it's the mental realm, there's no emotion there, and that's not necessarily true. So just seeing those little granules brought that up for me. And then like this cosmic bath here, the tears, there's water there. And I like that too, because sometimes our emotions are a bit much and we do need support in moving through them. So that's another beautiful way of looking at the Six of Swords also. So yeah, my friends, that is the Suit of Voices from the Muse Tarot by Chris-Anne. This deck is amazing. So I will see you again soon to look at the suit of materials, which is Pentacles. And I know that they're not going to disappoint. This deck is absolutely amazing. And I love already that I'm seeing a lot of roses in this suit. And then the final video that I'm going to do will be like the court cards. I really want to like kind of sit with them and just get to know them a little bit more and look at them all together. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.